Morning, my dear ones. It's a pleasure always to come to you. And whoo-wee, it's cold down here this morning. It was 42 degrees in Florida. That's cold. Now that would be hot in northern Alaska, but it's freezing down here. Let me tell you. Oh my God, what a blast you northern guys have got up there. Holy moly! But it sure is a pleasure. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about minerals. But as I was sitting here waiting on Chris to pick this up, I was reading this first one on top here. Not cherry picking, just reading the one on top. And so we've got someone in here, and Marcy's seeing him right now, an old client of mine whose eyes have been changing every year. And they got a lot of good changes, but most of them we show at level 2. And so I'll try to get Shannon to pull me up some pictures, and I'll show you guys the real nice changes. I think we've showed them way back on an early Iris video, the neat changes and stuff. So I'll read that in a minute. But I want to talk about minerals for a minute, because this was a subject brought up by Dimitri. And this is a subject that's been homing around for the last 40 years, actually longer than that. Jensen got involved in that for a while too. So you go back, this whole concept of more minerals are better has originated probably, 60, 70 years ago, if not more. And it's just that when we get into research and we use different potencies of individual constituents, you can always chart the changes from these individual constituents. That doesn't give you an overall view of how the body works and how the body deals with inorganics and things like this. So even though I'm a chemist, and in chemistry we have certain ways of defining things, I like to redefine things what I think is more appropriate. They, to me, ring bells of more truth. So let's look at this, the elementals of life. How many elements do we have now with the gases and everything, 200 and some? They found 2 new elements here a few years ago, and I had a chemist in here, and he thought they were man-made elements. And it's like, well, that's, I don't know. Anything's possible with the way man's playing in the world of chemistry. But obviously the earth is elemental. I've only had one person in my entire 43 years of seeing people that crave dirt. And that was a pregnant lady. And she said she did crave dirt a little bit. So, but no one ever craves dirt. And dirt, these are elementals. The elementals of calcium and phosphorus, they're more fundamental. They stand alone more than they're synergistically bonded. But they are bonded. They're bonded in minerals, they're bonded in rock and everything else. But they're more elemental. I would say the definition of more elemental is less electromagnetic energy to them, more inert, less defined as a salt. So you can grind these up. You can grind volcanic ash. You can grind the demultiferous earth, the shells. You can grind all that up and take it down and claim its nutrition because of its stimulating properties. But it has been well established, and years ago, we used to give calcium when a person's fingernails were ridged and weak and stuff like that, and women always took gelatin. And of course their fingernails could get hard unless they had a parathyroid weakness, and then they could give themselves arthritis. Many people have given themselves arthritis by taking minerals with glands that are down, because the utilization of minerals are seen through steroids. And of course calcium is a hormone. So when you look at these, you realize that in the utilization phase, hormones and steroids are used in the utilization factors. Now, enter Schussler's chemical salts, cell salts. And you start to realize when you look at life and how it works, is that every species has its own type of foods it's designed for, all the way to plants and different vertebrates of the animals, and so everyone has its own food sources. The only vertebrate that seems to be extremely confused with this is the humans. And I think one reason is that at the level of consciousness of the Homo sapiens, self-consciousness is starting to come in. Your ability to have self consciousness. That's not seen through plant life, some through animal life per se, but not much. If you have a chance to have a master, or you have the ability to go back in and view some lives in these forms, you'll see. I was taken back myself, and it's very eye-opening, very, very eye-opening, very freaky. But it's enough to say that every level has its own consciousness to it. Every plant has its own consciousness to it, every animal. But there are groups that have very similarities. There are groups of vertebrates like Homo sapiens, and even though our bodies are different in color, our bodies are different in shape and sizes, our insides are always the same. The only difference between the inner workings of one human over another is their genetics, and of course a little difference between male and female. But outside of that, the human is a race, not a blood type, a race. And anybody that sits there and spends all this time wasting their time on blood types, to me, is idiocy. Because no other creature on this planet deals with blood types, and not even the primates. And this is just insanity to even begin to think that you're dealing with antigens and immunity as dealing with your digestive needs and your nutritive needs. That's just a line that's ridiculous. But the guy makes a lot of money, and people fall into that trap, and some people go back on the high proteins that are losing their kidneys, and then they get in trouble, and you just have a mess out there in this field. But that's a medical field, I think. But it's enough to say that plants love elementals, minerals. Great for plants. Look at Hawaii. I mean, the richness of volcanic ash and stuff like that. But in terms of ingesting it as a human, that's not what we're designed to do. We don't have any way except breaking it down and pulsing it down until it's powder, and then you have to be real careful. Basic minerals have a hard time being absorbed through the gut because they are low in electrical charges, and they're more elemental or fundamental. Therefore, chelation therapy was designed to wrap an amino acid around minerals so the body would accept them more, and we could get the minerals inside the body. So that's like pulling something in the body that it doesn't want, for the sake of trying to treat a symptom. And this is all treatment-based thinking. And if you fall into treatment-based thinking, you'll lose your ability to heal people. And you lose your ability to get yourself well, because now you start being that leaf in the wind that blows around, and every healer that has some ridiculous thought on something blows you one way in one direction, another one in another direction, and pretty soon you get totally confused. You must keep life simplistic if you want to survive. If not, the mind will chew you all up, because it's what it's doing to everybody. And now you see our biggest problem is the elitists, the intellectual, narcissistic elitists who think they're like Obama, who think that you can take a republic and make it into a socialistic order. And that's, I'm surprised. They need to run out of town, because, some people get killed over stuff like that. And these guys are just, there's just this narcissistic elitist viewpoint. It's enough to say that plants absorb elementals and love that. The richer the better, right? You grow a watermelon in sand, but you can grow a watermelon in, let's say, Wisconsin soil and taste the difference. Now, with that said, those of you that have heard of Finhorn, which I just saw something in a kind of a New Age shop on Finhorn, and Finhorn, of course, is in Scotland, where this spiritual lady was told to go there, with her spiritual guides and stuff, and it's just more or less sandy area, and they're growing cabbages this big and lettuces this big, and I mean, it's just with all the divas and gnomes and stuff, and people go there to meditate, to contact life at different levels. And now they have a university there. They've had that for years. I mean, it's an incredible place, I hear. I've never been there. Read a lot about it back in the 70s and so, but incredible to look at that, what you can do with the help of nature. Incredible stuff. But when we consume the plants, and we're not even designed to consume plants, that's how much further away we are to minerals. To me, this consciousness of minerals are like the consciousness of proteins. You just inundate the body with chemistry that it can't deal with. And then you have acidification, agglomulation, or you have irritation, da-da-da-da-da. And none of that's vitality, none of that's health. You must understand that each vertebrae has its own unique physiology and anatomy of the body to meet the criteria, the foods required to keep its body, the way it's designed, in optimal health. The human is more of a neurological species, in my opinion, than the rest of the vertebrates. Primates coming in a quick second. So when plants take up the minerals, they start combining them into more salts. And by the time you're eating fruits and stuff, you're much more into a more refined chemical balance. I don't know how to put that. More refined chemistry. More electrical, more refined, more bioavailable, meaning more available to the cell, more absorbable, all these factors. So the problem with man is his mind wants to second-guess nature. You know, just because man migrated to Alaska and Siberia and Russia doesn't make him any less a tropical species. That's the problem here. We're trying to gauge. And then this paleo diet, remember we were talking about that, where National Geographic and this edition, which is only a couple months ago, talked about the Paleolithic diet, and that the guys that are talking about paleo diets are wrong. And this is National Geographic. They have the bodies of these cave people, and they said that the concept that man's brain is big because of the meat and everything is insane. It's ridiculous. And that man had a much more of a vegetable fruit eater. They found that more vegetables in their bodies than meat. So it's just, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and however it gets started, but a lot of misinformation, and our side is a side of truth. And we're always going to put that out there, whether one likes it or not. It's just the way it is. And I'm trying to keep a lot of you guys from getting caught up into the David Wolfe syndromes and the Harvey Diamond syndromes and stuff, where you get caught in, trapped in these things, and then you lose your wellness. You lose your ability to get well. You know, you just realize that detoxification is that golden key. And that it's interesting how that you can take a neurological case, put them all on fruits, berries, and melons, and rebuild that case, and yet then we claim we have to go down and pick up lower forms of food because we need it, and yet you just rebuilt a neurological case. It's just insanity to think. The real problem we have is quality of foods, no question. But the human is not even a vegetable eater. Those are herbivores, and their teeth is totally designed different. Remember, we showed you the picture of all these vertebrates' teeth. It's done nicely, and we also have a chart of paws and hooves and hands and fingers. I mean, when you start looking at all aspects, you'll start to find what foods are generally spoken for man. All the fruitarians in life made sure they made complete books to show you the whole sphere of why we're frugivores. Good reading for some of them. But don't get trapped in, I need heavy minerals, because you can overstimulate yourself with minerals. Going back to the calcium for the fingernails, without the parathyroid gland working. See, the problem is we all run low steroids and hormones. Instead of fixing the 4 phases that's essential to get well, we try to treat our problems on top of all this. So we have malabsorption. So because we have malabsorption, we have very low lipid absorption, we have very low nutritive absorption, so we just hit the body with high lipids and high nutrients to try to get a response. That's not health, that's treating symptoms. You must fix malabsorption. You must eliminate that problem. But you have to first understand it first. What is it? How do you get malabsorption? So you must understand these things, and the real understanding comes in with the adrenal glands and steroids and the bulk of mineral utilization. And these are essential, and until you make any of these claims about minerals and all this stuff, you need to fix your body. Well, people claim you got to fix your body with minerals. Not true. Not true. We actually get people away from minerals when we're detoxifying. We get you away from the heavy foods, the heavy vibrational foods. because you must also understand that this is also tied to consciousness. The foods you eat, everything else has consciousness involved. You can't eat anything completely dead. You could cook it almost to death, but even in the atoms you have consciousness. But different levels, and a lot of humans are trying to grow spiritually. So one's trying to grow spiritually, and yet they keep connecting to the lower forms of food, and it'll be a tug on your spirituality. Can't do that. So don't fall into some of these traps. You can stimulate your body all you want. And the final analysis, you're not going to be healthy out of that, and you're going to have a crash coming. Not going to work. You have to go in and clean out the mess and re-strengthen tissue. Well, how come fruits, berries, and melons regenerate tissue? When I was a fruitarian, I could cut myself, and the next day I didn't even see where I cut myself. It wouldn't bleed. Now, Arnold Ehret also offers that up. You can get yourself to these levels. Prove it to yourself. I had to prove it to myself. When I was listening to Arnold Ehret, I'm going, wow, oh, that's incredible. I wonder if it's possible. Then you try to achieve those things. But, you know, everybody has their own agendas here. Trying to get you some pictures here. Let me read this to you first. This is from Steve. I've watched almost all your vids, but I don't think I've ever seen any before and after iris pictures. I think we put them on something, Steve, but hang on. I'll try to get some in here. I've got a couple being in a consult with Marcy here, and they've been clients of mine for a long time, and he does incredible improvement from year to year to year. It's neat to see the collage of that, particularly after detoxification. And you want to see that because really it's in your face that eyes change. Really in your face. But if you believe in iridology, you have to accept that premise, because for German iridology to say we have fixed eyes it goes to see why they had 3 lobes of lungs on the left side. You know, it's not a complete science. You don't have, I don't know what you don't have, because you have nothing fixed in nature. There is nothing static, nothing fixed. Everything is in the process of movement and change, however micro, however small, however large. But there's nothing ever stays the same. And if you believe the surgeon's ideas about the eye, and all Lindlar's and all the other great physicians who took this apart, including, of course, Jensen, you've got to really take a look at that, and it really is impressive. Then when you use it in your own clinic and you start nailing people, boom, 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 it was really impressive. I have proved that art over and over and over again, and I am so happy with it. If medical doctors want to be naive or that's okay, because I'm against a lot of things they think. So I don't care what they think. Who cares what another person thinks? If it works and it's real and it works for you, that's all you need. Who cares? Who cares what a medical doctor thinks? Who cares what a naturopath thinks? This world is yours, and you're the one that has to learn the truth. Our problem is we've allowed physicians to control our health, and this is why this is an educational channel, because you must learn, guys. You must learn how simple health is. Not only simple to unwind the complexity of acidosis and what's happened to a lot of you guys. That's not simple. But the simplicity of the cause and what you have to do to get your remedy is, outside of that, you can treat your symptoms all day long, and most of you that come to this site know that doesn't work. Most of you had everywhere from Accutane to Imbral to everything else, and know that you're just, nothing works like that. And you show us some of the changes that occur in the iris when someone, absolutely, thank you very much. Last year I sent you some iris pictures taken by my mother in 1978, I wonder where they are, at the age of 48, and then again in 2014 at the age of 82. Oh, I got to look at those, which didn't reflect much change at all after 34 years. You know, if you've got an eye like that, and of course this lady lived, she's 82, and if there wasn't a lot of changes from 30s to 80s, that's congrats, because as a rule, most people's eyes are getting worse and worse and worse and darker and darker and darker, and some of the blue and the older people are fading to gray, and it's just, you know, it's a mess. So if she can have that many years without that radical changes, that speaks a lot about her. That's pretty good. But she is 82. except bleach coloring in the old photos. You can see the exact same sulfur deposits and lacunas. Yeah, she hadn't done anything, and of course she wasn't detoxing or anything, Steve, so that's why. I mean, if you don't do anything to invoke change in the body, it's going to accumulate more. And then the eye tends to get darker. If she kept her eye pretty much in a balance, that's pretty dang good. Shannon, what are you doing on the phone so much? Shannon, I want to talk to you. Hey, Jenny?
Yes.
Could you see if Shannon can produce any of these pictures we had in class level 2? We have a request to see some befores and afters, and I just wanted to show some.
Oh, okay.
So see if you can come up with for me, would you?
Oh, I sure can.
Thanks, honey. I know Marcy's in with the gentleman that his eye's been changing every year, so I thought I'd get him to come in and say hi and talk about that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So whenever that takes place, we'll come and put that in there for you guys. Using name in a Banana Island protocol. People using your name in a Banana Island protocol, saying your banana idea is wrong and getting others to do tons of enemas to a point where one is bleeding. Now 2 are bleeding. Holy crap. You see what I'm saying, guys? We just have a radicalness to us out there. And all I can say is I'm trying to bring a sense of balance to each of us, because balance is the key. There are some who are going to go over the top through the woods and past Grandma's house, but still, you know, there's the Dimitris of the world. But that's a reason for that, and these souls have to go and experiment and find their own lessons and ways, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You know, a spiritual being can show you the way, but you know, there's always going to be pitfalls and things that get you there. And nothing's perfect. You know, we don't have 100% of the answers, that's for sure. But I'll tell you what, there's very few people we can't get to Wellville. Very, very few. And those people are on their death row. It's time for them to leave the planet as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, out there are some people. But you have to take a look at your life, your consciousness, all these things. Because those that don't improve, and here's another thing we talked about before, look at your heart, look at your love, look at all this, because if you're a person that's on raw and you're doing some herbs, you're not seeing any changes, there's a chance that your heart's closed, that you're closed off, that you're closing off any electrical changes. And that's important to think about, because you want to let go. This is a time to just let it all go. Let life go, let all your creation go. This is a time for you. This is a time for you to sit around the fireside and get used to yourself, to find out who you really are. This is a time for you to start loving yourselves. You know, it doesn't matter what anybody else cares. It's great to love everyone because it all comes from the same God. But you're an individual here in consciousness, and or in this state of consciousness, you might say, and you should enjoy that and get to know a little more of who you are. You know, instead of running off and doing bizarre things. And that's what I'm trying to say. Balance is the key here. You can't force the body. It's I know when people are sick, they want to get well the next day, especially when they learn what's causing it. Then they're ready to go. But with that said, be careful, guys. Let's see what this is about. I'm sorry to bother you, but this is an emergency. I gave Shannon in the clinic my email, so you may have already seen it, Dr. Morrison. I haven't not seen this. And she's on the phone, very concerned about people. A couple of ladies who started a Banana Island detox. Well, initially sounds good, Banana Island detox. It sounds pretty good, but they call it major detox, heavy detox, 20-30 a day. Said you were wrong, but they use your name in their group, which is wrong. Isn't that funny? Well, anybody out there try to eat 20 bananas? You ever try to eat 20 bananas? That's a lot of bananas. If you consider the banana as the meat of the fruits, because it is one of the meats of the fruits. Remember, according to the 3 doctorate professor, our friend in Canada, runs at a university, considers the banana nature's perfect food. This man has had a lifetime and 3 doctorate degrees behind him. But he in no way condones 20 to 30 bananas a day. That's impossible. They're a little too heavy for that. And they're not detoxifiers. They're not astringent rich. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but boy, you eating too many of them, you're just going to feel fat and bloated and everything else. And plus, wrong way of doing that. You know, the one thing you do when you're trying to detoxify is get away from digestion, not increase it. That's not even smart, because that's the whole idea of water fasting, is get away from energetic loss through digestion, absorption, utilization, things like that, where the body can shift its neurotransmitters and shift its energetics to cleaning itself. That's as simple as it is, and it'll do it. So when you're putting more foods in that have to be digested, that's why we like the more subacid and acid fruits, because they're more astringent rich and they're much easier to digest in the human body. And then you always want to pull away from the table. You want to undereat, because if not, a lot of your digestive energy is to digesting. But they got a bunch of people to copy them, and now they have problems bleeding from rectum from all the enemas they are having them do. You know, these aren't true healers. And it's a sad thing. I don't want my name associated with anybody like that, because these aren't true healers. I build spirituality, stability, balance, and a sense of simplicity, because that's all is required. And let me tell you, fasting and detoxification has been going on for centuries. Centuries. And we have numerous books about them, and many books in the 1900s through up to 1950, 60. So this is an art that's been developing. The natural hygienic people probably are some of the best at it, because these guys have been doing it through fasting clinics for years. Of course, I disagree with the vegetables and stuff like that more than the fruits, but it's no big deal. Who cares? For me, the most stable group has always been the natural hygienic people, and then after the Fit for Life and Harvey Diamond, it's almost like you don't hear about them anymore. They came out with a PhD coursework that I've got it here, and I wanted to finish it because it's just so in depth with chemistry and everything else. I just love all that. I just not had the time. This giving one enemas, and that's why I say, using the bowel formulas, they're not laxatives, they're restoratives. Using the GI broom, it's not a laxative, it's a restorative, it's high astringents. Might be strong, but it's not a laxative. And that's the thing. And using enemas, this innervates the bowel. And you can see that after colonics. Can't poop for a few days. And so it's innervating. And this is one of the problems with too many enemas. And what are you trying to accomplish? Absorption in the lower colon like that's minimal. Basically water, and you start forming stool, you know, as you move around the lower and in the sigmoid areas. So the lower ascending. So you just, I don't know what you're trying to achieve in doing a lot of enemas here, but you know, irritating people's rectum and stuff. There's nothing healthy about this. You know, I don't know where these people come from. They are all not professionals. They don't have your degree nor your certificate. They've been detoxing, so they say, for 2 years now, yet they are saying these things. We are so worried. I don't blame you. And the problem is, and this is some of the problems that we face as a group, is the charlatans, or those that are half-assers or whatever, who think more than they are being. You know, some people overthink things. And you don't have to be. These same people could do a simple fruit fast down there and do it with balance and have a good time with this, and people get themselves well. You don't even see radicalness like this in yoga detoxification centers and ashrams and stuff. It's just, I don't know. All I can say is that we have to inform those in our groups to be aware of that sort of thing, because and this is another reason why it hurts our reputation, and why it hurts the reputation of natural health. Because medical doctors, in their narcissistic elitism in certain ways, look at that and go, you know, because some of it is just obviously not common sense. And common sense is vital to have here. Dang. I've been detoxifying, so they say, okay, let me see. So I've been told their FB page has posts accusing you of not having success stories. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that wild? That's crazy, man. You know, when someone says that sort of thing, you have to wonder why people are liars like that. I find that just frighteningly human, and why we're in the state we are. I mean, when someone makes a claim like that, of course, that's why we have our reputations worldwide, is our cures and what we've done. So when someone says something like this, the thing is, let me know if they get too much on this, because I'll have my attorney go after them. Because, you know, there's a time when you can go over the top here. And slander, I take that very seriously. I had a medical doctor come after me for slander one time. He was a cardiologist. And he claims I told his patient in the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning that I wouldn't have him work on my dog, which was true. I wouldn't. He is well known to hurt people, have a lot of infections. He's a bad dude in every way, shape, or form. Coke freak and everything else. But he came after me. And the only way I got his attorney off of my back, the hospital backed me 100%. The only thing I got him off of, he was a cocaine freak. And I know his supplier. And so his supplier said, "You want me to take care of it?" And I said, "Yep." The only way. So I take this seriously. If they're going to slander us, we'll put our attorneys on it, because I'm not going to put up with that kind of stuff. We're trying to build reputation and respect, and I take this very, very serious. And not being open-minded to anyone but yourself. Look at that. These ladies are starting lots of trouble and posting in the fan page. I don't know, I don't know what to say about it. They're classic liars. I only can tell you what I experienced. And I'm always open to new ideas that work, that assist detoxification and the regeneration of tissue. I'm not into harebrained ideas like 20 and 30 bananas a day and excessive enemas. I don't listen to that, because I don't go that route. I was a person that did colonics and enemas years and years ago, and Kalima boards. We used to sell Kalima boards. I've been through all this. I'm not sitting here as a neophyte. I'm sitting here as a well-experienced healer, and I can only tell you what I've experienced and why I don't allow certain things and why I don't teach or bring in certain things, because we've already done that. And what you see is people drinking their urines and then using stool now, implantations of stool. I mean, this is the kind of level that the humans have sunk to. And if we don't continue to raise the consciousness, this planet hasn't much of a chance. And the human species will have to be terminated, as it was about to be. And so we got one other chance. Now, we would not take that. Yeah, and me neither. We don't want them on our side either, because these are always troublemakers. And the problem is, you have a weak person that get pulled in by one of these jokers, and then they get hurt. We don't appreciate that at all. If you see any more of this and something that they say that's slandering me, I'll just turn it over to our attorneys, and we'll take that in another level, because we have to protect the integrity of God, nature, the truth about health and vitality. And yes, it's not like there's one little narrow road you walk down, but detoxification sits at the pinnacle of that road, and you must do that. You can use vegetable matter initially, but you'll notice you'll get to a point. So it's not that I'm unopen to ideas. We've already been through these. You give me a new idea we haven't been through, I'm listening, because I'm open to that. But you're talking to someone that's been doing this for a long, long time. And my friends, like Jensen, he was in the field 75 years. So you're talking about people that have had a lot of experience with this. And when you go to slander them, it just shows how low of consciousness these people have. Yeah. Oh, good. We were talking about iris changes. And we had a request here by Steve to see some eyes that have changed.
I'm going to sneak past behind you over here. Can we get them? I don't even know if this is showing.
Okay, let me see something. Drew? Yes. Can you come in a minute? Yes. See if we can't work this out. If this is just, they want to see some changes. Now, we show it in school, but this isn't school. This is our YouTube videos.
And so is one of the eyes in your school presentation, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shannon's been on the phone, and I can't get a hold of her to pull those. So I wanted to show this. Can we show these before and afters?
I want. Come say hi. Oh, okay. Can you make?
Well, you can just get the camera around and introduce them.
This is Robert. This is his very first one.
Which one's your first one, Rob?
No.
This one, yeah, look
This
at,
one is
oh
the
my
first
one. This
God.
one's the first
Oh my God, it has to be. Look at it.
Yep.
Look at it,
You're
look at it,
right.
look at it.
Take
All right, now,
that.
Drew, show his, Robert's first one here. Now I'm going to hold up his second one. What color eyes would you think he has in this first one?
Looks brown.
Looks brown, don't it? Take a look at this one. This is the second one. How far away between this? A year, you say?
Now the dates are on there. It's just over a year.
Year and a half?
No, it's the
No, year.
It's about a year. Just over a year.
Now, a different camera, though it has a different look to it, but she'll show you the current ones. You're getting his blue back. Big changes. The new camera is hard to, it's just a totally different beast. But look at these changes. You're just kicking butt, my friend. You guys are incredible. Wow.
All right, so
And
we're
a Gail.
gonna lay these here.
Gail's eyes.
These are Gail's. This one is her first
Ooh.
one.
Yeah.
Gail! I remember these,
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Gail's. Look at these dark areas, lacunas up here, or these radius solaris up here.
Big lacunas.
Yeah, big lacunas.
Alzheimer's runs in my family.
Isn't that amazing? Look at this, guys. And this is just one. We got tons of these all over the place. Just getting them all together. Look at that. Incredible. And we have some, even your eyes, drastically. This is another thing. Marcy's eyes drastically changes. And it was amazing what you've done to them. Where's yours? They have changed amazingly to show you the changes. Did we get them in there? Yeah, Robert and Gail? Boy, you guys are kicked. Look at your first picture. Oh my God, honey, look at what you've done. Look at the software. Look at that thickness. Look at that. Wow, my God, you've done incredibly
And
well.
this was a year ago.
Look at that. Look at how that's gotten smaller. See how that radii solaris is now
Oh, they're thinner.
thinner.
Yeah, they
Well,
get
they will. They get thinner and thinner, and they'll go away. When you can make a deep radius solaris or lacuna go away, you know how good that is? That's deep genetic weaknesses and how that can turn that around. It's a fascinating stuff. I love it. And look at that. Oh my God, even
Hopefully
more.
they're thinner.
My God, even thinner still, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at this coming up here.
Gone.
Your whole, I know, it's all gone. It's amazing stuff. It's just friggin' amazing. And then when you go back to your, it whirls. Look at these two.
It's upside down. It's right left.
Right,
There you go.
amazing. I love it. You guys have been kicking butt though, Thank you so much. I wanted to show them some. You got yours?
I do. I also want to point out that Rob has been all raw for 2.5 years.
We both have.
They both have.
I
Okay.
occasionally cheat.
Okay, so do we have any gold stars here? What do we got? we need some gold stars for those guys. That's butt kicking.
Yeah, how about you hold that?
I'll hold
and
that.
I'll hold.
This is the before.
Yep, that's the before.
Take a look at her eyes.
God.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
I know. But she's been, let's say, just sucking it down like nobody's business. So just to show you, we got some eyes.
Oh, good, because Shannon's.
Yeah, she's stuck on the phone, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, because I've been talking to him about that, and some people think they have fixed eyes and stuff, and in nature nothing is fixed.
No.
Things change. Oh, he was saying that his mother, he sent it to us, so we have to see this, but he said his mother, he sent us a picture at her eyes at age 48, and then again at age 82. There was very little changes in the eyes for 40 years, but she wasn't detoxifying. The benefit of very little changes in those 40 years is that typically you get a lot worse. If you don't detoxify and you're eating a typical diet, your eyes are going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Cholesterol rings are going to come in, it's going to get darker, things like that. So when you see someone's eyes that don't change that much over 40 years, that's a positive thing, and she is 82. But you see the tremendous changes. I remember your eyes years ago.
Yeah.
Just damn incredible
Yeah.
job. Okay, yeah.
I'm
How
gonna
can you say
sneak
enough
these
about
real
that? Oh yeah,
Grab those.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna head back and finish
Thanks,
our
Rob and Dale.
session.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Mercy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you. incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Thanks, Drew.
Amazing.
Isn't it?
Oh, man.
I love it. And we got a bunch more out there, too. We got a
I have to say, I love all the goodies on your desk. I'm very observant, as you know.
There's my Alf. Listen, by the way, I have some of the warmest Norwegian socks I've ever had. Oh, she gave me some nice socks. There's my little gnome. Straight from Norway, I say. I'm sure we all have some
Explain the
Norwegian.
snow globe.
The snow globe? Well, I showed them this the other day.
That's awesome.
Urine that's not filtering. Urine that's filtering. Yeah. I had to buy one of those to show that because, you know. And then I got a wizard Santa Claus.
Well, that's awesome.
But I want to finish this because we have some problems out there, Drew. We have some people that are slandering us, people that are using banana, they call it Banana Island Detox, 20 to 30 bananas. They're doing enemas to people's rectums bleed. And they're saying that I don't cure anything. Or something like that. Oh, man. You find that out there, though. This planet is so crude sometimes. You wonder, like, did my bus stop here, or the next time you send me here, I'm going to change my mind?
Whatever happened to
I know.
positive thinking?
Oh, yes. Positive thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll come back. Yeah, right.
I'll see you in a bit.
All right, man. Thanks. All right. Can you please address that? If we were you, I'd be pissed. But if I were you, I'd be pissed. Sure, I know some newbies who were sad start off with bananas, but not people who are 1 to 2 years into it. Wouldn't you think that? But there's always those. I want to tell you, there's only a handful at any given time that's ready for God consciousness. And it's probably a little more ready for health, and some people are being drug in it because they hurt and they don't know any other remedy. Some can't stay long enough to get their remedy for one reason or another, emotionally or some other way. They're just not ready for this level. Just remember, this is all karmatic, and everybody's working off their karma so they can get higher. When you understand what the gig is here and what keeps you in these lower levels, then you start doing things to get yourself out of here. Because no one can get you out of here but yourself. No one can get your health back but yourself. That's why, again, these are educational videos. And we can only rely on our experiences and what we've seen. So people are always charlatans. I've been called every name in the book, especially by medical doctors. I've been called every name in the book. Well, it's funny, one medical doctor in a hospital started calling me names, and my client got up in his face and walked him back to the wall and said, "Don't you ever talk to Dr. Morris like that. He's cured my whole family." And that what made me feel real good, because you're used to people calling you names. That's the mind. These poor souls are so lost. They're struggling with their egos and their minds. And the mind does not want to change. Notice the mind gets grooves, just like a record album. Those old record albums that has grooves in it. That's what your mind gets. And your mind likes habit. Don't bother me. Don't change. I don't want to change. Soul, consciousness, loves constant change because that's all you are. You're always you can't get away from yourself. So you enjoy activity. But the mind, it's got to set in these grooves, and some people just have a hard time getting out of them. So we have to learn how to ignore those kind of people unless they get real too much, and then the only thing we can do is send our attorneys after them, and go after that way because, after a while it gets ridiculous, because they're creating bad karma on themselves by saying all these things and by doing this. And I just try to be a channel for God. I don't care. It'll take care of it. It'll take care of it. I was security a lot for one of the ECMasters one time. And it just, for a few years, I was into security. And this ECMaster was coming into Tampa one time, and I was ahead of the security for it. And there was this particular motorcycle gang that wanted to kill this spiritual man. And so the local sheriff's department came over and told me that we've got trouble coming. We have a motorcycle gang coming and they wanted to kill him. So I beefed up security and everything like that, and all through the afternoon and night, and nothing ever happened. And then when the sheriff came the next day and said, interesting, the leader had an accident and his motorcycle and was killed. And I'm going, oh, how interesting. So I just stepped back because the universe will handle this. And they're creating bad karma against themselves, and they're hurting others. The sad thing is there are those that fall prey to that. And it's too bad, but you know, it's just, that's why I always try to get you to keep your eyes open and aware. It's sick, doctor. These women lie and use and think they are #1 detoxifiers, but are hurting others with the wrong way. Not sure what to do. I left their group after seeing their hate towards you. It disgusted me. I thought they were okay. Then I saw their group and left immediately and told these 2 people who want to help. Love you, Doc. Love you too, guys. I love you so much. You know, let me know. Let me know. And I'll put my attorneys on them. I'll have them call you. Okay, let's see what we can do with that. Daggone it. Anyway, time's coming up. Sad, but you get to see firsthand what's going on out there. And be careful. Be careful what pits you fall into. Because these people are just unconscious. They don't realize what they're saying and doing. And, you know, they're just digging themselves bigger karmatic holes. So it's better, I'm glad you pulled away from that, because you get sucked into these things. We don't care what they say about us, because people are going to always say things out there. You know, sticks and stones, those that live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, you know, those sort of things. So I just let that karma whip back to them. If I take that on, and if we take that on, then we're taking on the karma. They actually are winning, because we're taking on that crap they're putting out there, and that's just what the negative forces want. We're better than that. They're the ones that can't cure nothing, and that's going to be their effect. It's simply cause and effect here. And so they'll reap their rewards, guys. But always teach the truth and honesty and integrity. And those of you that are healing people, you are good healers and true healers, and you've been doing really well. Don't let anything like that interface with you. Just know there's always going to be those people out there that do crap like that. And there's just nothing you can do about that. This world is so low in consciousness here. That's why we're all here. That's why the spiritual beings, there's so many of them that are helping at this level. It's not even funny. I don't even know half of them. So it's just amazing that how much low consciousness is stuck here. It's like this planet got in a rut, and the humans have to get out of this. So it's happening. So appreciate the input. There's another one, hypothyroid. Can you talk about if there is anything that can cure hypothyroid, or do I need to live with it forever? I take a pill every day. And this is Madeline. Madeline, we've discussed that quite a bit. But let me say this. You know how you get your sinuses full of mucus when you drink dairy products or eat dairy products and stuff like that, and you get a lot of mucus in your throat and voice box and lungs? Well, the thyroid and parathyroid glands also become full of mucus and lymphatic stagnation when the lymph isn't moving well through these tissues. Then that sets up inflammation within these tissues, and it can create either hyper or hypothyroidism. Hypo is always where you're going to go. You're always going to go to a hypo state as you move your tissues toward death. So the best way to correct this sort of thing is detoxification. If your cells of the thyroid are working on genetic memories and they're not performing like they should, then you want to use a glandular to kind of enhance the thyroid. And I would use, if it was me, I'm going to use a thyroid glandular of about 150 milligrams at least initially. And you don't need much, but you also have to determine if this is a pituitary problem as opposed to a thyroid problem. I find that mistake is often made, that we blame the thyroid for the problems when in fact the pituitary is suppressing it with low TSH. And an actual low TSH, not from a high, not a normal working thyroid. So if you're running low TSH with other low T3s and 4s, then you know it's pituitary. And you can look for other pituitary signs, look at the eye, look at your growth factors and stuff like that. So with that said, I like to use glandulars temporarily, short-term for hypothyroidism, that sort of thing. At the same time, what am I doing to the person? I'm detoxifying them. I'm pulling all the mucus out of them. I'm getting the kidneys back in order. Because again, even though we're talking about thyroids, we have to trace why thyroids become weak. What system can we trace this through? The blood? No, the lymph. Blood never suppresses anything unless I reduce or close off the supply. We call that ischemia. When blood is not getting to tissue properly, we call that ischemic changes or ischemia, meaning there's a reduced blood flow. That can be generally from occlusions, and occlusions are blockages. 99.999% of all blockages are lymphatic blockages, not blood blockages. Blood clots are factors, no question, but that's when we start eating proteins and monkeying with our diets and getting away with proper nutrition. Proper nutrition is always carbohydrates. Proper nutrition is always fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. And if you really want to focus in on truth, vegetables are not our foods unless we go to the veggie fruits, like the cucumbers and things like that. Then we get along with them a lot better. But when we get into the lettuces and things like this, we're into a food that's very difficult to digest. And again, if you want to detoxify, you don't want to be consuming those foods. You can juice them, juice extract the fiber, and now you got more of the juice. But taste the juice of a nice green drink as opposed to a nice, let's say, grape or orange juice or something. You'll still feel the thickness to that, minerals and the like, and you'll still feel the thickness to that. So that's the way I would do it. I would get in and either do the 14-week protocol we've got laid out and have me write you one up, or just start going and grabbing your herbs for your kidneys, your lymphatic systems, and things like this. Again, you want to kind of, if you're a female, you can tell pituitary problems by your menstruation issues. If you're excessive bleeding or you have irregular menses, you know it's a pituitary problem. If you're short, you know it's a pituitary problem. So there's a few things like that you can determine, but the best way is to look at your eyes. Your eyes, you can look at the thyroid area and the parathyroid area, see if you're full of congestion lymphatically or there is a genetic weakness. Genetic weaknesses is just, you've seen the eyes here just a few minutes ago, their deep genetics are disappearing. And that's because they're regenerating. And that's what we teach. We teach detoxification and regeneration of tissue. That's all. I don't get into it. If anybody wants to take off on these side roads, go right ahead. I did that for years. It took me years to get this. It's taken me years to break this down and to simplify it and make it right. And it shouldn't have, because it's that simple. And I look back and say, it was so simple. How come I didn't? Because we're used to complexities. We're used to academics. And academics is okay to a point, but when it dominates your consciousness, you get lost. You lose truth, and you get in these grooves like these girls that are doing this. So go after that in that way. I would use a glandular to bring it up. If you're on Synthroid or levothyroxine, that's synthetic T3s, I would definitely, for me, I'm going to try to get off of those, which is really easy, especially if you've been on them short term. If you've been on them long term, we use the word titration. You go off slowly. But really, you want to have your medical doctor, you want to sit in front of your medical and say, listen, I'm going to get off of these, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Will you help me? In reality, you can go every other day for a few weeks with a pill, and then every 3 days. It depends how long you've been on them. Some are on Armour, natural T4. Same thing. You still will weaken your thyroid gland. Depends how long you've been on it. Same thing on titration off of it. These are not difficult things to do. We make more out of things sometimes, and medical doctors make more out of things sometimes than really needs to be, because things are more simple than that. And if you keep it that way, you're more happier. Frugivore for 3 years, still have work to do. Hello, Dr. Morsford. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's nice to have people that appreciate that. So I love you, man. Thank you so much. I am Adrian. Adrian, is that correct? Male, 39 years old, from Transylvania. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. I've been almost frugivore for 3 years. That's pretty damn good, man. That's pretty dang good. But sometimes my mind plays tricks on me, and I did some exceptions. I've heard my eyes. I've had my I had my eyes read by Peter Angel, and he confirmed what I was feeling. I have way more to go in my detox journey, and that's the beauty of using eyes, because it's in real time. You get to see what you're doing, the changes you're making. It's kind of fun. We need to make this a fun thing. People are too serious, and these people that are knocking others and stuff, these are just low level aware people. These are still souls. Their just awareness is low, and they're just creating karma for themselves. Sad stuff, but you know what? That's their journey. You know, we're on our own journey of getting rid of our karmas and helping others get rid of theirs. We're the way showers. There are a lot of people, guys, that are not going to make this and stay long term because they're not way showers. This will actually sift down to those that are the best. And then we'll be helping everyone around the world in such a high level. So don't feel bad if some leave, because that's just the nature of things. This is for the best of the best. I have lymphatic congestion built up for years of eating mostly pastry, dairy, and meat. Yeah, you know, I got that too growing up with so much milk. I look back at it and I think, God, I didn't even like the taste of it. What was I thinking? But my family was pushing it, you know. Everyone, almost, not everyone, but almost all my family members, cousins and everything, were farmers. You know, if I went and stayed all night with a cousin who's on a farm, you know, and there's always farm work. You don't stay all night and play with your cousins. You generally are big sticky on either baling hay or picking tomatoes or corn or something. I attached my iPhotos. I don't have them, so they probably didn't take them off. I tend to overeat on fruits, and when I do, I get tinnitus in my ears. Should I restrict my volume, calories from fruits? And if yes, what are your recommendations? You know, I just tell you the truth. I just eat until I feel almost full, and I'm done. I just walk away. I try to eat intuitively to a certain degree, because I try not to eat because you got to like the food you're eating. There's no question about that. But if you just eat for taste, and that's all you're doing, that's part of man's problem. He doesn't know what great fruit tastes like, because we judge from the typical unripe fruit in grocery stores and stuff like that. So we really don't understand what a pineapple picked ripe off a plant would taste like. Nirvanic. So man doesn't have that opportunity to taste those incredible tasting foods like some of you do. And so the opinions are based upon those things, and ridiculous. Some of the lab, some of the research, which is minimal, is based upon unripe fruit too. So you see all these opinions based on this, and this. I don't know what you can say about that. So I would definitely cut back a little bit here. From fructose, let me see. I believe that the tinnitus comes from the triglycerides transformed from fructose. Am I wrong? I think you're wrong, but then I don't think that is it. But you know, fruit's very active at moving lymph. And at different times, you can pull that lymph up and create a pressure out of it, because you're pulling that lymph forward. It's like, you feel like, it's like saying with funguses. Sometimes you feel like you got your fungus under control, and then you go on, you just start pulling out deeper levels of lymph, and then you start pulling out fungus again. So when you're digging deep into the body, we have layers, and we have miles of interstitial areas and spaces that have to be cleaned. And the best cleaning mechanism is hydration and astringents, because you realistically can't get into around every 100 trillion cells and clean them with anything but chemistry, truthfully. So when you look at that and you understand what the gig is and the systems, the simple systems of the body, then why are these people going so crazy about all the bananas and then, irritating rectums and stuff like that? These are people that are out of control in their emotions and mind. They're not balanced. We must maintain a sense of balance and awareness, because that makes us good healers. These people lose that. And I would go for herbal teas instead of tinctures as detox. Any particular teas? Yeah. You could use like the Hill All tea, something like that. You could do a tea where you put a few herbs for the kidneys, a few herbs for the lymph system, maybe a few herbs for the adrenal glands in there. You can do that. You could make a tea, stuff like that. You could get a little, of course these are real strong when you get up into the pokes, but even burdock is a detoxifier. So you could do a little tea of burdock and parsley and dandelion if you can find them. You could make a tea out of a bunch of herbs. We could really get into that, and get a little kidneys in there. You could make a nice tea just with those herbs. Let me see. Any particular teas that you recommend is good for detox, adrenals, and or thyroid? Well, the berries are always good for the thyroid. Berries are always good for the glands, but I've just never seen anything that just slaps them awake like glandulars. But with that said, as you eat a fruitarian diet, notice the fruits and the berries and the melons. This is all neural, glandular, ease of digestion. But look at the human body. Look at us. We don't have anything that's aggressive. We don't have any hair on us to keep us warm. So obviously we're meant for more tropical areas. There's some people pretty hairy out there, but steroids will do that. We don't have any aggressive fingers and nails. We can't rip the hide off of many animals with our fingers and nails. We don't have the teeth to tear and rip. We're really quite simplistic of all the vertebrates, in my opinion. And so a simplistic diet would be in accord with that. Being close to the primate, you can see that most primates are in places that are not winter. You do see some. I saw some monkeys somewhere, they have all the snow and they're in the sulfur springs and stuff, but that's not a normal situation. But thanks so much for this. Thanks so much, Adrian. Let's see how you get along. But congrats for so long as a fruitarian. You're doing really well. Matter of fact, I'll have Chris maybe pull your eyes and I'll take a look at them. Okay. I'm just so limited on time of doing all this and being able to talk to more of you on these question and answers. Well, this is an interesting one. This is treatment recovery. This is John here. Reversing the side effects of immunosuppression therapy. Recently, my 8-year-old grandson underwent immunosuppressant therapy for aplastic anemia. Oh yeah, aplastic anemia, I'm familiar. Isn't that something? It's like, holy crap. I remember we had 3 firemen, friends of mine, get into a chemical fire down here, and all 3 of them got leukemia from it. It was bad news. And so one of them died, and I didn't even hear about that until I heard the second one, which is more of a friend, because I spent a lot of years in the ER down there, and you get used to all your paramedics and things that come in on the ambulances. And so he actually contacted me and came into me. And they did the same thing. They had him on immunosuppressants, and stuff like this. And so I told him just the opposite. No, you don't suppress anything in the human body, or you're going to get yourself into hell, Bill. And so we went the other way, and he was on a cane, got rid of his cane, he got healthy, he was doing so well, symptoms were gone. I just can't remember all the facts to tell you about. His wife got so upset because his medical doctor said, he's building your immunity, I want to suppress it. If you don't suppress it, you're going to die, blah, 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 blah. So the medical doctor talked his wife into talking him to go back to the medical doctor, and he died in 2 weeks. Went back on chemicals and stuff and killed him in 2 weeks. Just made me want to throw up. And this is what's out there. I've got years of this kind of crap behind me. Years of this. Putting up with everything. I've seen tens and tens of thousands of people putting with every level you can imagine. So it's just the nature of the beast. That's why I'm a little passionate sometimes. I was very against the procedure and pushed for other options. Yeah, but he's 8 years old, and remember, they have control of your kids. Where did that ever come from? We allow our governments to gain control of us. Isn't that ridiculous? We need to start making our governments be subordinate to the people, not rule them. We got to change things big time on this earth. Man lets our government rule them, and that's a big no-no. You see what happens? Now they have big plans to kill most of you guys. You have to understand that. There's a big plan out there to kill a lot of you guys. The World Health Organization makes no bones about it. All right? So, it's called a spade a spade. He began his therapy 1 month ago in early October 14. Ultimately, the patient experienced severe damage to their vital organs. Yes. My inquiry, this is a good a grandfather right here. My inquiry is a simple one, as outlined below. You are a very highly regarded medical professional. That's my inquiry. I respect your tremendous work and ask for any helpful feedback to the questions below. All right, let's look at them. Number 1, how can severely damaged vital organs and tissue be revitalized and restored to original condition during or after immunosuppression therapy? Well, first of all, cells are made up of the universe. Cells are made up of chemistry and physics. And it's chemistry and physics from which you get them back. Remember, it's very difficult in this run because this is level 2 stuff where we get into, in level 1 we talk about the different levels of creation and exactly how that all works and understanding genetics of a cell and that consciousness and memories and emotions of cells and how that is. And also, to be honest with you, how you get in and regenerate that from consciousness and energetics. And that's understanding physics and understanding energy. And what is energy anyway? What is chemistry anyway? And understanding a little deeper about when you consume foods, what are you consuming actually? Some people are locked in fundamental minerals and proteins or amino acids and stuff. Let me tell you, that's a fraction of what you're consuming. A fraction. And you can get outside of chemistry. You're consuming electromagnetic energies, frequencies of all types of levels. That is consciousness. Get into quantum physics and what they've discovered about energy and stuff like this. So when we have we could do a video about that, but I really kind of keep that for level 2 schoolwork because I have to have ability for you guys to go to school and get more information. You can't just do it all on the YouTube site. But you can get in and regenerate this, but I'd put this boy on a diet of strict fruits, berries, and melons, maybe give him a salad a day, depends, he's 8 years old, so he should chow down, but he's already kind of got his thoughts on there. But I'd get him on a high, raw diet right now. At 8 years old, he can regenerate anything at 8 years old. What is the most dangerous drug or drugs used in immunosuppressant therapy? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. None of them are worth crap. So I can't tell you. I don't believe in suppressing anything. When you suppress your immune system, what are you suppressing? Because when you say immune, what system in your body is your main immune system? I heard most of you, and most of you were correct. It's your lymphatic system. But you're going to go into bone marrow, you're going to go into spleen. Why would you take anything to suppress bone marrow or spleen function, particularly bone marrow function? That's a great way to give him bone marrow cancer. I mean, this is the kind of thing that they're going to move him into. Most people don't come out of immunosuppression. I mean, you have some with transplanted organs and stuff, but we get them right on a good raw diet and everything else and pulls them right out of that. What is the point of no return for reversing the administration of the actual immunosuppressant drug protocols and their side effects? What is one drug that prevents reversal? I'm going to tell you, the only way you're going to buffer their pharmaceuticals is with nature. Because we can't buffer chemistry with more chemistry because we get into radicalness then. And then chemistry, when you rebond chemistry, you get into some radical crap going on here, and that's what's going on here. These guys are radical people. And they're radical people because they use their mind to try to understand health and vitality, and you don't need to go that far. You don't need to go to school to do that. Nature already supplies all the answers for that. So, all I can tell you is the diet is key at being a buffer for this. Key at being a buffer for this. At the same time, you could use herbs. I still haven't, you say aplastic anemia, is that all we're dealing with here? So, those are the things where you want to get into the bone marrow and build it up, get into the liver, gallbladder and build it up, get into the spleen and build it up. These are the things you want to do is build the boy up. Being 8 years old, his genetics are showing his inability to maintain the integrity of blood and the like. So, you can go in and fix all these things. You can change genetic memories of cells. So they just don't know this. The sad thing, this boy's 8 years old. So he's trapped in a system that only they know how to do is hurt people. I'm sorry that I have to say that in that way, because it's not really true, because in emergency work we try to give relief. I thank you for medical doctors. Get me out of pain with kidney stones. I love you for that. I can write my own narcotic scripts if the state wasn't have their, likes to violate people's rights like they do. But with that said, these children are only going to have, I'm going to be bold here and say that most of you that are going to be the good healers of this planet are only the few that can help children like this. These banana people are never going to help children like this. Only you smart people that walk with balance and understand are going to help children like this. And of course the children with the cancers and everything else, because that's what they're doing. And suppressing this young man's immune system means bone marrow, spleen, and the like, only leads to cancer. And cancer, of course, is what? Just damaged cells by acids. But when you suppress the body's ability to fix and repair itself, because that's what you're doing when you suppress the immune system, you're suppressing the sewer system. And of course, sometimes you're suppressing bone marrow and everything else. That's big time trouble for this young man. What new industry experts and procedures are on the leading edge of medicine? You're talking to the wrong guy, John. Not into medicine. Talking to the wrong guy. I'm not into medicine. I'm into botanicals, which most pharmaceuticals need to go back and grab them, because they're the only place that you get remedy. You want a remedy. You can't get remedy through the medical profession, John. There is no remedy medically. There never is a remedy medically for anything. Understand that. It's a treatment-based system, and it deals with symptoms. That's all. There is no need to get well. There's no ability to get well. There's no ability to get healthy under the AMA. It's the wrong focus. And even if you're going there to treat symptoms, okay, but just understand they're not into health. They don't know how to rebuild tissue. They don't know all that. That's reserved for our field. Those medical doctors that have looked at our field and moved in here, like Deepak and Dr. Wild and some of the other ones, okay, but some of them have created naturopathic schools and then taught naturopaths wrongly. The joke's on us, right? So this is part of the problem we're facing, is this narcissistic elitism that you see amongst the intellectuals. And it has served nobody at all well, not even them karmatically. So that's all I can tell you, my friend. Thanks, John. But there's nothing medically you can help your grandson with. That's the problem. There's everything in nature, botanicals, the food, there's everything in nature to fix him, but nothing medically. Gosh, there's so many questions here. My God, you guys, I'm so sorry I haven't been able to get to you all. One pal's from this weekend and one pal's from their back. But I've been in school for 2 weeks and just a lot of things going on, and I only have a few more minutes. And I hope the rest of this week I can get here and talk to you a lot more than I am. This is AISHA. My question, I have kidney disease. Look at that. Kidneys, 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 all over the place. And that's why, you guys, we have a newfound respect for kidneys. I learned this years ago. Those babies are so much more important than they can even imagine. And you're going to find them finding a new lymphatic system hooked to the kidneys. You just watch. In this past week, I have changed my eating habits about 90%. Oh, congrats, congrats. What I mean by that is I went from eating meat and dairy products daily, several times a day. Oh, yeah, I know what that's like. To hardly none at all. Well, good job. All I can tell you is you're taking steps now to get your health and to put your body on the road to well, so good job here. Matter of fact, I haven't had any meat or dairy in the past 3 days. I go to that's the greatest thing this guy could have said. Now this person goes to dialysis only two times a week for 2 hours, huh? I still produce lots of urine. Yeah! All right. Now, that's what you want. Now you can wean yourself off of dialysis, because you have to be careful. Dialysis has been responsible for stopping people of self-urination, and the fact that you're producing a lot of urine is incredible. What are you not doing, though, that's causing you the need for dialysis? You're not filtering. And that's what you got to get going. You got to get your kidneys filtering lymphatically. That'll pull the acids out of the body, all the inflammation out of the body, and the kidney itself. So then the creatinine goes down. Everybody's happy. You're getting sediment in your urine. I work and is active. I'm in school, but I absolutely refuse a kidney transplant at this time. This is a good person. Now you rebuild this kidney. Thank God you got away from proteins and dairy, because that's chewing down on your kidneys. Now you want to pull back and get into your vegetables and your fruits and your berries and your melons, especially your fruits and your berries and your melons. And you just cool everything down. You start hydrating and you start astringently moving lymph. As you start to clean the kidneys and bringing the adrenal glands up, getting more neurotransmitters of dopamine and acetylcholines, now you got better elimination. You're getting hydration interstitially, systemically. See what I'm saying? And now you're getting hydrated around all the cells, head to toe. That's just what that meant. So if you're self-urinating, I'd be cautious about dialysis, and what I would do is get myself way up on detoxification, and you'll save your kidney and everything else, because kidneys rebuild just like any other tissue. Remember, kidneys are used like the stomach to used to dealing with acids, so they regenerate beautifully. Thank God. There's certain tissue that is very good at regeneration. Let me see. We don't need a transplant. We'll work all that out. Need a picture of your eyes. Let's get a picture of your eyes. Put your name on there and tell me that you're on dialysis, but you're still peeing. And let me look at your eyes, and we'll talk. I don't feel good about it, no matter what anyone says. You don't want diet. You don't want a new kidney. It's a good chance, a great chance that you can rebuild that. Matter of fact, I've never seen anybody that couldn't rebuild their kidneys unless it's atrophied until it's just so small and atrophied almost away. Then, yeah, that might take a while. But if you still, and they're just basing this on chemistry, I'd want to see the eyes and to see what your kidney looks like. Because there's no fun, nothing good about getting someone else's kidney, not for them or you. And so this is not good, and you can rebuild what you have. I love where you're thinking here. So what all of this being said, my main question is, what should I be eating? Fruits, berries, and melons at the top of the list, vegetables at the low end of the list, green drinks preferably. That'll start cooling down the kidneys and start astringing the kidneys, particularly the fruits and the berries. It'll start astringing the kidneys and start pulling those acids out of the interstitial cavities of the kidneys, which will then stop the blowback of the creatinine. That'll start going down. You'll start got to get the adrenals up with that, and then you'll start invoking systemic reactions. The prostate will start pulling clean. If you're a female, your female organs start pulling clean. Everything starts pulling clean closer to the kidneys. It's just how you work this out. I was told to stop eating animal protein. I can't tell you how much. No protein whatsoever, or you'll end up losing the ability to pee here. Because I was leaking protein in the urine. No kidding. It's just, protein is a bad thing, not a good thing. We've been taught it's a good thing. Sometimes when they teach us things, it's the reverse is true. Notice that the history books are being written how they want them to be written. Notice that's what we're dealing with in America, in Texas here. What are my PH papers doing over there? Nobody ever puts things back. You ever notice that? Okay, I can stop eating animal protein, no problem. But will other problems like beans, legumes? No, off of all of them, my friend. All protein. Give your kidneys a sweet little break. They're dying for some fruit juice. Cause protein to leak out of the same thing, my friend. I want to change my eating, and eventually I want to be 100% no meat, no dairy, and I'm working up to that now. Well, you're on dialysis. Don't lose your kidneys, or you will regret every minute you didn't change your diet faster. Please take your time. Go now. You got plenty of support. You got your Facebook sites here. You got plenty of support. Go now. Jump into this, and you'll be done with this. Your kidneys will be saved. You'll be happy and singing a song every day. I will run across the same problem. Also, what about meat substitute options? Forget protein. Drop that in the waste can. Forget that. Go to your carbohydrates. The main need of the body is carbon anyway. Not a protein. It's carbon. Not nitrogen, carbon. When I run across, also what about, what ones are best that are not loaded with salt and tofu? Don't do any of them. Get away from that whole consciousness, man. Produce section of your grocery store, or your markets, your fruit produce markets. Go to those places that have your best fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables, and that's what you eat. You can eat all you want, but just fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. and you'll be surprised how fast you can save your kidneys. Get on some herbs for the kidneys, herbs for the adrenal glands or glandular and your lymph system, and clean yourself away, my friend, and you'll be done with this, and you'll be done off of all dialysis. And I would be going that way right now before you get yourself into any deeper trouble. You didn't mention what the level of your creatinine is or anything else. The fact that you're self-urinating, yeah, you don't know how far ahead of the game you are at, my friend. All right, I've got to kind of run here. Got a birthday party back there. We always celebrate our employees' birthdays and stuff, just for the fun of it. You know, we like to have a little fun around here and all the seriousness and the trouble that people are having. But from my heart to all of you, have fun with this. Keep it simple. You know, there's so much idiocy and ridiculousness out there. Keep it balanced. If something sounds, you don't have to be radical at getting well. Eating fruits, berries, and melons is not radical. Not even close. Eating proteins and dairy products is radical. Eating dead for a human, eating dead tissue and their milks is radical. That's radical. If you look at how we eat, that's radical compared to the way we're designed and what we're supposed to be eating. Not radical, and that's the same thing. Medical is radical, not holistic. Nature is not radical. Pharmaceuticals and chemistry is radical. So you have to understand that the radicals tried to turn it around and make it seem like we're radical. And that's not true. We're traditional. They're alternative. We're not alternative. Not in the like. I've always stand firm with that. When someone says alternative, I want you to rethink that. We've been here since the dawn of time. We're traditional medicine, if you want to use the word medicine. So take our rightful place, because if we don't claim it, someone else will. But they'll claim it in a way that they gain control over you. So have fun today. Spend some time alone. Give yourself a big hug, and then start hugging those people around you. A good hug always helps the day off really well. You know, love goes a long way. We need to instill that all around the world. There's just too many people killing people and celebrating that. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. And so we have to be the strong ones. And you guys, there are a lot of you guys that are the strong ones. Stay strong. Keep it simple. You know, we grow. We're not opposed, and I'm not opposed to growth. That's the name of the game. But when we've done some of the things these people are doing over and over for years, it's a redundancy we don't repeat and don't have to repeat. If there's something new, we like to take a look at it and see if it's not toxic, not harmful. This is the criteria I look when someone asks me about something. Is it harmful? Is it an isolate? How's the effect going to be on the body? That sort of thing. When it's a protein or heavy minerals, get away from them. We've used those for years. Some of the new people might not have heard of it, but we've been using these forms for 100 years. People are still sicker than a dog. Wrong focus, wrong thinking. So you guys are really well. I really appreciate each and every one of you taking your time. And this young boy, 8 years old, see if you can save this young man, because if they're not careful, they'll take him into a place that's not good. And yet this young man is real easy to save. It's just sick where our healthcare, what they dub healthcare is. So it's important that each of you try to be stable in your journey to Wellville. So we're always here for each and every one of you. If you need us, just give us a call. We're here. And give someone a tap of love today, okay? I love you all. Thank you so much.